How's it going, everybody? It's Matt again. We're going to talk about another third-party transformer. This time it's going to be Robot Toys RT-03 or 03B Working Leopard, or their Cheetor and Shadow Panther twin pack. This is the box. Nice art. Nice matte finish on the box too. I like it. But not too much to talk about. Just a couple of things here and there, but yeah, it's a box. The instructions it comes with are pretty nice, actually, pretty simple. Just single panel set of instructions because these guys are quite small. And here they are. They come packaged in robot mode, but I like to start my videos in the alt mode, so here they are. Obviously, we'll take a look at Cheetor, and yeah, some nice paint, all the polka dots and stuff on them. And as far as how they look, I mean, it's a pretty successful beast mode, I think. It's a little thin down here maybe, but I think you can probably just move the legs up a little bit to hide it a little better. But I mean, all in all, it's a pretty good looking beast mode. Yeah. And then here is, of course, Shadow Panther, his mold buddy. Obviously no real paint on him, but yeah. So these guys are going to come with a ton of accessories. First off, they're going to come with different, more cartoon accurate heads, which I hate. I hate the way they look. They're so like weirdly uncanny. I understand that this is what they look like in the cartoon, but it just looks goofy to me. So here we have like our toy accurate heads and then our cartoon accurate heads. Now the only thing that I think these guys are both missing on both of the heads is their teeth are not painted at all, which kind of takes away from it a little bit. But their mouths can open and close. And you can swap them out just on the ball joints. I'm not going to do so on the video, but figured I'd show that off. And then here is the one for Shadow Panther. See the different heads. Are also going to come with the mutant mask for their toy gimmick. This works for either of them. I'll show that in robot mode. And you're going to come with different face options for both of them. You're going to come with the kind of open mouth yelling face, showing off his little fangs there. This is the one for Cheetor. And then you're going to get this type of face with just kind of like the closed mouth. This one's for Shadow Panther. Again, I'll show those off a little bit later. You're going to get these guys. I think these are the communicators or something from that one episode in the cartoon. But this one is meant for the beast mode, so it just plugs in with this little tab right here into the arms, so it can do that for either of them to have a little communicator. And then this one will plug in on the robot mode arm, and I'll show that later. And then we have a variety of different hands. But these hands are really thin. They're kind of weird how they work. But I think it's just kind of how they have to be for the transformation. But he's going to come with like these kind of relaxed hands, and then they're going to come with these kind of like straight fingers. I think it's actually a pointing finger. Yeah, it's like he's pointing or something like that. And then on them are closed or like weapon holding hands. So we'll see that a little bit later in the video. There's a lot of tiny little parts. But we'll go ahead and set Shadow Panther aside, and we'll take a look specifically just at Cheetor, because I feel like this is what most people want to see. But I guess I'll quickly go over articulation on him. I guess we'll start with the tail. I have a joint right here and right here on the tail, so you can arrange that however you want to. And then it can rotate here, so you can get that however you want it to. Back legs here, we have a joint right here move about that far forwards and about that far back. And then there's a joint here, which is the robot mode knee, which gets you like all the way out and in about that far. Down here we have a joint right there. It's so hard because it's so tiny, but you can move it back and forth however you need to. There's a ball joint up here and what will be the robot mode foot, so you can get that in whatever position. You can't really move it very much, but it can, go here and there. There's a joint down here, right there at that pin, which allows you to get about that far forwards and about that far back, like basically nothing. And then everything else, that's just kind of a transformation joint here, but the toe can move that far back, that far forwards. So not the greatest posability down here on the back legs. It makes it kind of weird to get it in like a natural looking pose, unfortunately. There's nothing to like sway the hips out at all, so it's kind of like locked in this position like this. Down here though at the waist, this can move side to side. That's kind of just for the transformation, and it can move back and forth. Not really that useful for the beast mode, but whatever. The arms here, there's a joint up here, which allows you to rotate the arm back about that far and forwards about that far. And then there's another joint up here in the shoulder, which allows you to pull the cat paw out. That came undone. There's a joint here at the elbow, take you about that far back, take you about that far forwards, nothing crazy. And then the foot has another hinge right here to get you that far back and that far forwards. The neck here, just kind of at the base of the cheetah head, can take you down about that far, up about that far, can wobble a little bit, and it can rotate just ever so slightly. Nothing major. The mouth can obviously open because I showed that already. So that's pretty much it for articulation on these guys in like their beast mode. But as far as like the design, I don't like the big open section here on the base of the head. It's not really on the other head. It's still there, but it's kind of unsightly. Looks a little weird from the side. But the biggest problem I have with these guys is that his guts are just showing. There's nothing covering it. That's the gut gun that Cheetor is kind of famous for. But it's just straight up showing there. If there was some kind of panel here that they could have flipped out, I feel like that would have filled that in a lot better. But I don't know. Just kind of looks a little weird back there. But just don't look at the cat's butt. You'll be fine. But yeah, obviously everything's same on Shadow Panther. So I'm just gonna transform Cheetor and take a look at how he works. I'm gonna do him off screen. But to get started, what we're gonna want to do is back here, these little panels here on either side. There's little clips on the backs of the legs, and there's also where the gun attaches right here on a post. You have to just kind of push down to release this tab. I'll get a little closer so you can see. Release that tab on either side, and then this whole thing will come undone from that little peg right there, from where the gun attaches. And just raise this up on this swivel, and then the gun is just going to pull right off of there. We'll set that aside for now. This butt panel right here will rotate all the way around. We'll just kind of get that out of the way for now. At this joint here on the knee, go ahead and just extend the leg all the way. And then here is that little joint right here at that little screw. I'm going to bend this down so that these spikes kind of line up right here. And then lift the robot mode toe up. And then the foot here is going to kind of fold here and then fold up into place to become the robot mode foot. And then it's going to rotate right there at what will be his thigh. And you're going to kind of just bring it down, and it's going to undo this groove right here. See how it normally sits like against that panel? You bring it down so it gives you clearance. And then you can rotate this out past that little sharp bit there. And then this panel will just close like so to form the thigh. So here again, just going to extend the leg, rotate that down so the spikes line up, put the toe up, fold up the cheetah foot into the robot mode foot, rotate around, pull this down so you have clearance, rotate that out, push that panel in, rotate back down. And there's the legs. Oh, actually, we still have to push this panel down. So basically just push this down, and then that peg will go right into that hole right here. So just push that down. All right, so up here at the top, so we're going to just kind of get the arms out of the way for now, and then it's going to separate right here from the torso on that peg. So just pull these out like this, and then this whole section here is going to rotate on this screw in there, and rotate forwards to get it down looking like this. Same thing here, pull it off of the body, and it's a little tight on mine. Pop it off the body, rotate this whole thing down, and just kind of get them out of the way. And when they come down, there's going to be this little recess area right here for these pegs that you just have to line them up and make sure they fit just right in there. And then you kind of just straighten out the cheetah legs in whatever way makes sense to you, and just kind of put them down like this. Because now we're going to rotate the waist all the way around. So now to get started on this part, so this whole section here on the back is going to pull forwards and unlock from here, and then you're just going to kind of bring this up and bring them up on the shoulders right here and just kind of straighten them out. And they're going to separate right here and then pull out on this secondary hinge here and on this hinge here. Just pull out to the side to get them out of the way, like so. And then we're going to need to kind of undo some of the panels in here. There's a lot of tiny little things. So first, on this little joint right there, this tiny little panel needs to flip up. Supposed to anyways. This tiny little panel right here needs to come up. And then this other panel right here at this joint needs to flip up as well, like so. About that far, just to get out of the way. And at this point, we can just kind of get the cheetah head out of the way. Don't collapse it yet, but we need to just pull this whole section out like this, and then just kind of get the clearance here, because we need to rotate the head while it's still in the body because of the horns. And this can be kind of tricky because it's so small, but just kind of turn the head around, try not to break those little horns until it's facing towards us. And then there's a ball joint in here which will allow us to rotate this entire section around like this until it's right side up, like this. And then this, the cheetah head, will just kind of push up, and then this will go down and collapse, and then that little panel right here will fit into or onto that little peg, like so. And then you can now collapse the cheetah head down. And then these parts right here, these little tabs, go into these little holes on the sides of the shoulders, so just rotate these little blue parts around, and then collapse them in like that to form the side of the torso, like so. And then we'll just kind of arrange the arms however we need it, and there he is. There is Cheetor. But yeah, interesting little transformation. I think that it's not like magic square materials, but the materials definitely kind of remind me of like the nylon plastic. It's got like this interesting feeling to it, but it works because there's a lot of like a little bit of like bending and flexing for some of the stuff. The tolerances are definitely a little bit tighter on Cheetor than they are on Shadow Panther, just because I think that there's more paint going on. But it's kind of enjoyable little transformation. Not too much flipping and flapping for the different parts, but it's not too bad. We'll get a better look at him. He's got this nice gold paint on a bunch of the bits on him. But there he is with his closed mouth face that I was talking about. Some nice metallic blue on like the legs and up on the shoulders and stuff. But he looks pretty good all around. Obviously, he's got his the cheetah front legs just kind of dangling on the back. I wish these were able to collapse in some way better. Also, I don't know if this is just kind of a leftover thing from their design process, but there's a hole here for some reason, and there's a peg here for some reason, leading me to believe that these should attach or collapse in some way, but I couldn't personally figure out any way to get these arms to move around and make that make sense. So if you know what that does, let me know, because I have no clue why there's a peg and a hole right there. Instructions don't say anything, and I haven't really seen anyone talk about it, so who knows. But his gun here, I also forgot to mention. Get him standing up. To transform this, you're just going to rotate this part around like this, and then you're going to, oops, sorry, it needs to be, was that right? I think I was right. It has to rotate a certain way. I think so rotate like this around, and then just push this in so the barrel extends. And then this part right here at that little joint on the tail rotates in, and then that peg goes into this little hole right here to make his gut gun. And then he can hold them in his holding hands. No problem. The hands, anyways, to swap these out, they actually attach to the insides of these little hand panels, and they can be kind of a pain to get out, so I found that using the spudger is probably a better way of doing it. Oh, but they're so tiny. Yeah, so they attach on these teeny tiny little pegs, and then you can swap those out for any of the other hands. Like here's the pointer finger hands, and they just slot right in like so. The other accessory that we had, the communicator piece, we'll just tab right into that little spot right here for his forearm, or I guess it just kind of wraps around the arm. Yeah, there you go. It just kind of wraps around the arm. Just kind of hangs out there if you want to do that. As far as swapping out the faces and the mutant mask, you just quite simply have to pull his face off. It can be kind of tight to do so though. There you go. Just pull his face off, and then you can put any of the different faces or the mask on via that little slot if you wanted to do that. And here is Shadow Panther all transformed too. And I will say with the tolerances on him, like I said, they're a little bit they're a little bit looser than Cheetor's because there's just straight up less paint on them. So it can be a little weird. Like the shoulders here come unpegged like a lot. So I don't really know what's going on there. But it's like mostly bare plastic, or there might be like some kind of top coat or something on some of these, but like the silver's all painted and stuff. But just it's just a black version of Cheetor. But more or less it is the exact same thing. I just have his little yelling face on him, but there they are together. You can see what I'm talking about. Alright, so let's take a look at some size comparisons. First off, why don't we start with Robot Toys' two other Beast Wars releases. So here we have their Optimus, or their Optimus Primal. And here we have their Megatron. So, yeah. Right off the bat, I do want to mention, these guys are they're a totally different aesthetic from what the other two bots that they've released so far. So their Primal and their Megatron are definitely kind of they're not as organic looking they definitely look like robotic animals, whereas they went for somewhat of a more cartoon approach to to Cheetor and Shadow Panther. Kind of weird that they changed their design aspect or their philosophy with them, so they don't really, in my opinion, fit very good with their two previous releases. But I mean, it's all right. Here he is with Iron Factory's Mirage and Magic Square's Megatron. Get this centered a little bit better. Here's Magic Square's Megatron. Kind of show how big they are. They're actually pretty little. And here I'll show off some of the other things here. So I don't really have many other Legend scale Beast Wars stuff to compare them with because not many companies have tackled it. But the one company I do have that has is Transform Element. So here is Transform Element's Scorponok. Here is their Black Arachnia. And their Rat Trap. And I think they look really good with them. I think they probably should be just a little bit bigger, probably. Doesn't really look super correct for him to be like almost the same height as Rat Trap. Rat Trap actually looks kind of bulkier than them, but it's not too bad. I think that they look pretty good together with these guys. And just because I know some people want to use these for Masterpiece scale, here is Takara's Masterpiece Megatron. So you can kind of see how they're looking at that size. Alright, and that'll do it for Robot Toys RT-03 Working Leopard, Shadow Panther, and Cheetor. I think they're pretty good. They definitely have some shortcomings here and there, like the bat kibble and some of the weird choices with, like, I feel like they should have filled in some spots on the alt modes, maybe a little more. The tolerances are a little weird between the two of them, at least on my copy. It might be different for yours. But I mean, they got a pretty nice set of accessories. They come with everything I think that they should come with. Maybe the extra gun for Shadow Panther. I believe that he had an extra weapon that he used in whatever source material he's from. I'm not too familiar. Like, I've seen the original Beast Wars cartoon when I was when I was a kid, so I haven't seen it since then. So as far as I know, they're at least Cheetor's pretty accurate with all the stuff that he comes with. It's nice that they at least included the toon accurate faces, even though they're uncanny as hell and I don't really like them. At least they included it. But they're pretty damn articulate. They can be kind of finicky to like move the shoulders around just because they kind of untab from the body quite a bit. But proportion wise, I think they look good. They look great as far as like the paint and everything. So they definitely look the part. It is kind of strange that, of course, Robot Toys has kind of taken this direction change with these guys anyways. I don't know about their future releases, but they look different from how their Megatron and their Optimus look. They don't look quite as robotic. They look more kind of natural in their alt modes, which, love it or hate it, I'm not quite sure. I think that they're okay. In that aspect, but they do, in my opinion, look really good and actually transform element stuff, even if they're maybe a little bit small, I think. But they're pretty good figures. It's a nice little 2-pack. I definitely, for those that don't want Shadow Panther, I do really wish that they had released these as separate pieces, just to kind of have if you don't want Shadow Panther, just get Cheetor. It would have saved you $25 for whatever the price of this pack was. I mean, for me, I think it was like $50 for both of them, which, can seem kind of high, I guess, for something this size and this kind of engineering level. That's more something I would be willing to pay, say, like New Age for their type of stuff, because they're painted head to toe. But for these guys, I don't know. I don't know if it's I don't know if that price point's really worth it for what they are, but I mean they are pretty good figures. Just I don't know if they're worth $50. But yeah, if you like any of my content or you like this video, please like, obviously, comment, subscribe. If you want to give me a follow on any of my socials, please check out my link tree down below. And of course, if you want to follow me on Patreon, it's not really related to Transformers. It's more related to like my my Armored Core stuff, and if I make any props or 3D print files, you can find those there on my Patreon. So check that out if you would like. But yeah, that will do it for these guys. If you made it this far in the video, I appreciate it so much. And of course, I will see you in the next video.